What's up, guys? Good evening. Noodles here, as usual, because that's what you expect on my channel, right? Hey, I look forward to this evening's conversation or discussion about anxiety, and I am somewhat happy about changes that are happening in my life and other people's lives as we have been moving forward with my therapy gaming category. It has been great to get to know new people, to connect with other individuals who have similar circumstances, and it has been nice to get the positive feedback that I have been receiving, and to hear from people that they are getting a benefit from this program or stream that I'm presenting to everybody. Tonight I am choosing to talk about anxiety, whereas the previous week in the last session I spoke about depression. I'm here tonight. Thank you so much, Suki, for being present. I appreciate you as usual. So if you are dealing with anxiety, it is likely that you might be also dealing with depression, but there are two completely different types of animals, and I will explain the difference between the two in my own words and opinion, and based on my own experience and wisdom. That's what therapy gaming is about when it comes to me and how I present it to you guys, and most of you are aware of that. I want to, again, in the beginning of my stream, start out by announcing that this is not me being a professional. I do not have a degree in this type of service. I am mainly doing this for the purpose of creating a means or a way for people to connect with me or other people that are having similar issues, so that they can feel comforted or familiar with, and feel safer or healthier knowing that there are other people that are going through similar circumstances. As I talk about subjects that I pick every week, I will be expressing my opinion and my experience and my techniques or tips on how to deal with, on what I fully understand the symptom or the issue is that we're talking about, the topic, and how we might be able to deal with it given certain different circumstances that everybody may be in. Everybody has their own scenario or lifestyle or environment that they live in that affects them differently on how they're experiencing the topics that I speak about every week. So I will be going back and forth tonight between the topic of anxiety, which is my focus tonight, and the previous topic from our last session of depression, because they work together a lot, they affect each other a lot, but they are very different, and the way you handle them is very different. There's a lot of similarities in symptoms as well as conditions or experiences, but the way they affect you and your body are completely different. As usual, I go and I do my own research before I do this stream. I don't come in incompetent or ignorant or with a lack of knowledge or awareness of the subject that I pick. I come on ready, mainly mentally, because I speak from the heart and not from a piece of paper. I don't sit and write and structure it out, because it is important for me as who I am as a person to express myself freely without restrictions or with linear information. I'm just letting it out the way it is, and exactly with full clarity and exactly how I feel and think. So let's rewind back to depression, right? So depression in itself is something I spoke about in the last session, that primarily it affects you in the way of how you think. It is the difficulty with dealing with yourself in regards to your feeling sadness, and how to combat or counter that sadness, and that sadness is affecting you due to experiences or circumstances that are primarily things that happened in the past. Okay? I spoke in the last session about how you can deal with it and techniques you can use immediately to help yourself with finding happiness when you are dealing with deep sadness, which is what depression is. And again, as I go on tonight speaking about these subjects, it is very important that you are aware that if you are at a point or a condition, or you're so far deep in your anxiety or depression that it is making you suicidal, or it is bringing you to a very, very dark and dangerous place mentally or physically, you need to immediately try to find help from a professional. And you should, if you cannot do it yourself, reach out to people, anyone at all, even a stranger if you have to get help, because it is very important that you get the help that you need from someone else if you can't handle the issues or the feelings that you're experiencing on your own. So the things I talk about are ways of how we can deal with these issues on our own, so that we can find ways to try and help us feel just a little bit better, so we can get that little bit of push that we need, like someone is giving you a little bit of push to get out or snap out of the symptoms that you're experiencing under the condition that you are. So we're talking about anxiety tonight. So if you're experiencing anxiety, you're going to be talking about ways that we can deal with that to counter it, so that you can get that little bit of freedom that you need, so you can move on with your life, even if it's just a little bit, because that little bit counts. When we are dealing with depression and anxiety, it is a very mentally and spiritually dangerous thing that affects us and affects our life and affects the people we love and affects our experience with life in general and how we interact with other people, or our experience with how we enjoy or not enjoy life. So depression, again, is about thoughts, about things in the past, and feelings that have to do with sadness. Anxiety is completely different compared to depression. Anxiety is a fear that is a restriction, a resistance that stops you from feeling certain things, from experiencing certain things in life because of feelings that are affecting you. So whereas with depression, it's mental, it's mainly mental, they're both blend into each other, so they both deal with mentality. But depression is heavily mentally based and heavily past based, something that already happened. Anxiety is heavily feeling based, and has to do with something that's going on in the present or the future. That's the big difference that you guys should clearly understand before I move forward, so that we can understand clearly the things that I will be talking about, and you can be on the same page with me about how we can handle it and how we can deal with it. Anxiety is this feeling in your chest that affects the entirety of your body and the entirety of your experience. It is a feeling that prevents you from doing things that are normal, that may feel very scary to you, that may feel intimidating to you, that maybe feels dangerous to you. And so as I continue to say these things, you keep hearing the word feel. So there's a lot to do with feelings. Now, here's how what I just said, the difference between depression being mainly thoughts of the past and anxiety being feelings of the present or the future. Here's how that affects you physically in your body. Now, I am not a doctor. I do not have a doctorate, and I am not a specialist in physiology, but I know enough to understand and to explain. So bear with me as I provide my own metaphorical or as well actual factual physical information. Okay, just bear with me. Listen to what I have to say. So with depression, all of that is happening in your brain mind. Okay, your brain mind. I say it that way because there is also your heart mind. Now, in my last session, I mentioned how it is new to science that the heart is a second brain. It is not just an organ that pumps blood and serves no other purpose than that. It is a second brain. Look it up online. There has been many tests on hearts to prove that hearts can think or have thought processes and so forth. So we don't know, in science, they don't know exactly how far that goes yet. They're researching it. But here's my input, my knowledge, my wisdom that I expressed on the last session, and I will express again on it. So we need to think that and realize that the brain provides us the opportunity to think and interact with the environment, right? It's how we compute. Well, the heart apparently also does the same thing. The difference is that we don't fully understand what all it does yet, but I do understand, and we all understand, how feelings affect us, right? So, as I said in the last session, imagine for a moment that if your heart had a mind of its own, it thinks because it has neuroreceptors, and it can fire electricity and process information. Imagine that the feelings that you experience, such as love and sadness and anger and frustration and so forth, imagine that all of that is actually, they are thoughts. Imagine that they are thoughts, right? Your heart is thinking these feelings. And as it thinks something, a reaction happens within the organ, right? Just like in your brain. When you think something with your brain, a reaction happens with your body. So, whereas the brain controls your body, your heart will control your feelings and other things, right? So now that I kind of went through that, explanation of how the physical body is explaining things about the physical body that people aren't usually aware of, I can connect that with our topic of anxiety and depression. Depression is in the heart mind, in the brain mind, okay? It's above. You are thinking things that have to do with situations that cause you to feel not worthy, that causes you to feel sad, that causes you to feel hurt, and all sorts of bad feelings and bad thoughts. It's all up here. Eventually, as you process that information up here first, it becomes feelings down here second. Anxiety, on the other hand, is in the heart mind. It's different. It's not that you are thinking exactly what is happening, it's that you're feeling that what's about to happen. Right? You're feeling afraid, intimidated about what's about to happen. That's happening in the heart mind. It's different. So they're happening in two different places in your body. So this is why when you deal with anxiety and depression, they are... thank you so much for being here, Poppy. I appreciate you being here all the time. You are an amazing person. I absolutely adore, appreciate, and respect how loving and positive you are every time you pop into my stream. So it is very important to understand the difference between the two so that we know how to deal with it. If you can... Let me explain something about problem solving, okay? In order for you to solve a problem, you have to find the opposite of the problem, which is the solution, right? Last session, I talked about how with depression, you're dealing with sadness, and the opposite of sadness is happiness. So we needed to find techniques to create happiness to counter the sadness. With anxiety, we are dealing with fear, and the opposite of fear is courage. Okay? It is the lack of fear. It is calmness. It is peace. So we need to understand that the mechanics of how two things of how anxiety affects your mind and anxiety affects your feelings, your heart, so that we know how we can find the opposite of that to create a solution for the problem. Anxiety will end up... Let me pull up something here. Anxiety will create a lot of resistance in your life with things that you should be able to do based on the fears that you have or the feelings that you have that are fears or related to fears. And there are many things that affect you, that make you get anxiety. Depression, we can kind of talk about it, right? And think about it and find ways to mentally program ourselves. Like I said in the last session, trick ourselves into feeling happiness. We can trick ourselves into feeling happiness so that we can get away from the sadness, from depression. Well, with anxiety, on the other hand, it's not that simple. Anxiety is very, very complicated. Here is why anxiety is very complicated. Anxiety is not just you thinking about what's about to happen. Anxiety has to do with everything below your neck and above your waist. Your entire chest area is anxiety. Your internal organs, your stomach, the way you're digesting, your heart on how its beat, its rhythm, your lungs and how it's breathing and its rhythm. All of that affects your anxiety. So that complicates things because we can get anxiety simply by eating the wrong foods. We can get anxiety by being in the wrong environments. We can get anxiety by being around the wrong people. Depression, you don't get depressed by just being around people, right? It takes time and it takes damage over time to create a traumatic experience that like makes you depressed. You fall into this plummet. You're just falling down aimlessly, right? That's depression. Anxiety, you can get affected by other people. It's different. So when we are trying to understand anxiety and deal with anxiety, there are lots of things that we should understand in order to deal with it. There are foods, like some foods are very common sense foods that you should know will make you anxious. Most of us who are trying to stop anxiety from being in our life are trying to find ways to deal with it. And when you do that, you end up finding out that things like coffee or caffeine or energy, things that promote energy, or sugar, which will fluctuate your blood pressure, or there are just certain foods that when you consume them, excuse me, they affect everything here, right? Everything above the waist and below the neck, your whole chest area and stomach area. Those foods, what's happening, here's why it gives you anxiety. Here's why. Because those foods are controlling your heartbeat or rhythm, your lungs and how you're breathing, and the your stomach and how it is processing food and nutrients. And when your heart rate changes, or your breathing changes, or your stomach consumption or digestion changes, fluctuations or differences in the way your heart is beating and your lung is breathing will cause you to increase energy. You start to increase the chemicals in your body that make you get energy, which is the same thing that anything that has energy that you drink or eat does, like caffeine or energy drinks that have an intense amount of vitamin B's. So those things, if you are a person who is dealing with anxiety, you should really avoid energy products and sugar products. It will dramatically help improve your experience with trying to solve your anxiety issues. It takes a lot of development. Most kinds are grown with anxiety, so easy to pass on. Caffeine and sugar are industrialized. Yeah, for sure. So we have to be careful with when you are dealing with anxiety. Just like when I talked about depression, there are different levels of depression. There's different levels of anxiety. There's different levels of everything in life, you guys. Everything. So never, ever, ever assume, I said this also last time, never, ever assume that your problem is worse than someone else, because someone else might be dealing with their problems differently. It might be affecting them worse than you, even though it is affecting you differently. You might feel less anxious about a situation, whereas someone else might feel more anxious about the same situation. Same thing with depression. Some people might get depressed about a certain condition or circumstance in their life in the past. Some people, it just doesn't affect them, or it doesn't affect them a lot. It makes them sad, but it doesn't depress them. There's a big difference between just being sad and being depressed. As well, there's a big difference between having healthy fear or crippling anxiety, right? Because fear you can control if it's healthy, if it's natural. It's natural to be afraid of a freaking dog who's freaking salivating and drooling and screaming at you, barking at you. That's normal fear. That's not anxiety. Anxiety is the fear of something happening before it even happens. So it's the thought of the feeling, the thought and the feeling, right, of the fear of something happening because you thought about it before it even happened. It hasn't even happened yet and you're already freaking out. That's anxiety. That's the difference between healthy fear and anxiety fear. So with anxiety, we have to be careful with foods because they can affect us, okay? That's important to know. That's one very important key component to be aware of. Now, here's something that I need to say after bringing that up. I see a lot of people on the internet, on social media, giving people advice about depression and anxiety and so forth. And they go as far as to say, stop drinking coffee and you'll get better. It's not that simple, you guys. There's no such thing as a simple solution for any of these complicated issues that we are having. So don't think that after I just said foods are gonna affect you with anxiety, that if you just stop eating those foods, anxiety is gonna go away. It's not that simple. There's other things. There's many layers of it, okay? So I will be talking about that. So give me a moment as I get to that. Um, Food is one thing, right? Another thing is your health, like your condition. Like, where are you? How healthy are you? Like, are you not physically fit? Are you in a condition where, like a physical condition where you um, don't have good breathing because you are not exercising enough, you're not training your lungs? Are you not eating healthy enough, and so your blood pressure is going up because you're eating too many sugars or too many salts and so forth? Your diet and how you eat and how it's affecting your body in regards to how healthy you feel as a person naturally, you know? In your natural condition, when you're just sitting there, when you're just standing there, how do you feel, you know? That's how you can gauge for yourself. You can gauge or judge or measure how healthy you are. Because you should be able to just sit down and not be tired, or sit down and not be crazy, or like, there's just certain, we know by seeing people who are normal, you know, what is normal really, right? But by watching other people who live normal, healthy lives, let's take the word normal out of that sentence. By watching other people and seeing other people live healthy lives, happy, healthy lives, we can see what normalcy should be like, right? And so you need to gauge for yourself and understand how healthy you are, and as well, you should as well visit a doctor and get a physical checkup to see how healthy you are, you know? Because how healthy you are, will also affect your anxiety for the same reason that food affects your anxiety, because it controls your breathing and your heartbeat and your stomach digestion and so forth. And all of these things ultimately end up affecting how you feel, which is the problem. That's the big problem that you're having with anxiety, is that the feelings are getting in the way of you doing something. So being able to be healthy and eat healthy by exercising or eating right foods and avoiding the bad foods allows you to kind of control your area of your body that causes you anxiety. That tells you, after I talk about those two things, that tells you that you should be really aware of when you are dealing with anxiety, you should be really aware of what's happening down here. You should really take a moment to think about, how does my stomach feel right now? Does it feel upset? Does it feel normal? Does it feel agitated? Do I feel pain? Do I feel aching? Do I feel gassy? Feelings of your organs will give you a sign. Those are alert systems that are going off in your head to tell you that something is wrong or something is right. Are you okay or are you not okay? It is not okay to always feel those issues in your stomach. The upset stomach, the diarrhea, the agitation, the gassiness. That's not normal. It's okay once in a while, once in a very rare while, you can feel those things because something got to you, some particular food you ate got to you, right? It's not healthy or normal to always feel that, okay? And that's going to affect how your heart rate's beating and how your lungs are processing oxygen, how you're breathing. And that's going to ultimately raise your energy level of your body, which causes anxiety. Anxiety is too much energy, is what it is. It is too much energy. And we need to find a way to balance our energy by being able to control what is happening with ourselves. Because anxiety is a self problem. Anxiety has nothing to do with anyone else. Whereas depression has to do with other people, anxiety has nothing to do with anyone else. It has to do with you. You're the source of the problem. You, inside of you. I'm not saying you as a person, okay? Everybody is amazing for who you are. Everybody's beautiful in every way. I'm talking about what is going on with your body. It's inside of you. You are dealing with that anxiety, and only you can fix it inside of you. And you can get help to fix it, of course. You know, there's ways. But now that we kind of talked about the physiology, the physical aspect, right, of how anxiety affects the body and where it is in the body, we can understand better how to think about anxiety as a problem. And let me go back to the other organs, right? So I talked about the stomach, then there's the heart and the lungs. So the heart, if your heart rate goes up, if your heart starts beating faster, you're pumping more blood, and this creates chemicals to release in your body, excuse me, that make you go up in energy, okay? Metabolism and so forth will go up. You will start burning more fuel in your stomach, because as your energy goes up, your body needs more fuel. Think of your body as a car, okay? The faster you drive, the more fuel you're going to use. The further you go, the more fuel you're going to use. Your body is the same exact thing. It's the same thing. It's also a machine. It's an organic machine is what it is. So when your energy goes up, you're going to start pumping more blood, processing more nutrition, and digesting more food. You're going to need more fuel to do all of that. With your lungs, when your body starts processing more blood, pushing more blood in your bloodstream, part of the whole blood system in your body, the network of blood that goes through your system, needs oxygen. You need oxygen to survive. And oxygen gets transferred through your body through blood, okay? And so as your blood rate, or as your heart rate goes up and your blood starts pumping faster, you are using more oxygen. So then your lungs start to breathe more, you start to breathe heavier, you start to breathe faster. So you see how they all kind of tie to each other? Like your heart starts to pump more blood because you're anxious or you're afraid or you ate something that gives you, like, makes your heart pump faster, like energy drinks and stuff. And then now you need more fuel, and because you need more fuel, your stomach has to process more food. And because you need more blood, because you're pumping blood faster, you need more oxygen, so you got to start breathing faster. So this is why anxiety is here, because everything that's happening down here all work together to make you an alive being, okay? And so it is very important to understand the mechanics of that, so that you know to think in your mind, okay, my heart rate is beating faster, so I'm probably going to be experiencing some bad anxiety. My breathing is fast and too abrupt, or too deep. I'm probably going to be experiencing some anxiety. My stomach is agitated and upset. I'm probably going to experience some anxiety. It's okay to experience a little bit of anxiety, because anxiety is basically just fear, right? I can't say that. I always watch what I say and how I say it. Anxiety is fear-based, right? It has to do with fear. So when you deal with anxiety, you should always be cautious with what's happening down here, so that you can see, okay, I might experience some anxiety. That's natural. It's normal, because I'm going through something right now, right? I'm going through something. So I'm gonna feel a bit of fear. I'm gonna panic because my heart's beating too fast. Oh no, that's normal. My stomach is upset. Oh no. My breathing is fast. Oh no. You should think. You should be mindful, is what it's called. Be mindful of what's happening with your body, so that you can know when it's natural, when it's normal, or healthy or not healthy to experience these symptoms of anxiety. This way, you know when you should be getting help, or when you should be helping yourself, when you should be applying techniques that I will be talking about tonight, or when it's really not necessary because you're okay, everything's going to be fine. You need to learn, when we deal with anxiety, we need to learn how to tell ourselves that everything's going to be okay. Okay? So there's a mental process to it. There's a mind game that we play with ourselves. Excuse me for a second. My lips are like super chapped. So now that we know that anxiety is affecting us in big ways and complicated ways, we need to know, how do we deal with this, right? Some of the stuff is common sense. Some of the stuff is like easy to figure out, right? Like, oh, okay, well, I shouldn't eat certain foods. Or I have bad breathing because I'm an unhealthy person because I don't exercise, so my lungs are not trained to breathe properly, right? Like your breathing is not controlled. Your breathing should always be controlled. This is something that's not normal in our culture, and particularly just in the US or in Americas, we're not really taught to control our breathing. It's not something that's spoke about a lot. You hear it sometimes, people will tell you, but it's not common. Whereas like I'm Buddhist and you're trained to control your breathing. And so, it's different in different places, but that's not the point that I'm trying to get to. The point I'm trying to make is that you should be aware, you should know that controlling your breathing is very important to your body. Very important, okay? Because of the transfer of oxygen that your body needs, how much oxygen your body is getting, how much oxygen your body needs when it needs it the most, and how hard are you working your internal organs, because it's either conditioned or not conditioned. And what that means is how much have you exercised your lungs? Is it not exercised, or has it been exercised? And if it's been exercised, you can breathe deeper, longer, faster, so forth, right? You can control the muscle better. But if you haven't exercised, you can't control the muscle very well because it's weak. Everything in our body is a muscle of some way or some sort that we need to train. From our brain to our lungs to our heart to our stomach, everything can get trained. Okay, so don't ever think to yourself, oh no, I have this problem, there's nothing I can do about it. There's something you can do about almost everything, because like I spoke about in my previous sessions, this is an infinite world or infinite universe that we live in. And so don't ever be so stupid or ignorant to think that there is finite or simple only one way to do things. There's never just one way to do anything. There's always going to be many ways to do everything, because our universe that we exist in is universal, okay? So get out of the mindset of, oh no, it's only one way, so it's not going to work. That's bad. That causes depression. That's a depressive way of thinking. Don't do that, okay? We need to fix that. Don't think like that. So, anywho, Flame, what's up? Thank you so much for being here. So true. I've realized my posture affects my breathing the most. Yes. There are many things that can affect your breathing. So breathing in itself is a complicated animal or process that we should deal with. This is why anxiety is a much more complicated subject to talk about. Whereas depression was somewhat easier to discuss or talk about. Depression is simpler when compared to anxiety. I don't mean simple to deal with. I mean how much it affects your body. It's different. Okay. So, talking about your breathing, there are ways for us to train our lungs so that our lungs can know how to breathe properly, or have the strength to breathe properly. Something you always hear from anyone and everyone is, you need to exercise, you need to go for a run, you need to go to the gym, you need to play a sport. Here, this is look, anxiety is one of the reasons why people are saying those things to you, but they never explain to you why. People are always like, you need to do this, you need to do that, but they never explain why. I'm an explainer. That's what I do. That's why you guys are here. So I'm going to explain these things to you. You do need to apply some kind of exercise to your life for the purpose of training your body, the muscles in your body, and even the bones in your body to have the strength they need so that they can do things that make you feel healthy, that make you feel happy, that make you feel normal. Anxiety is one of them. You can deal with your anxiety by exercising, because exercise trains your body to become stronger. And as your body becomes stronger, you will no longer have to deal with anxiety. Anxiety is a vibration. It's like when you freak out with anxiety, anyone who deals with anxiety knows that they're going through anxiety, because you instantly start to feel your gut, your stomach, and your heart and your breathing all start to do this. Like it starts to vibrate, like you start to chitter, you feel panic. Like that is a vibration, is what's happening right there. That's what panic is. That's the fear that's affecting you. The anxiety is affecting you physically. Now, you control that by making your muscles stronger. Because think about it, right? If you take a rubber band, right, and you stretch the rubber band over and over and over again, eventually the rubber band, it's gonna snap, right? Because of resistance, because it's creating heat and friction, and the molecules are creating friction versus each other, which is breaking down the material, right? A rubber band is not a human being. A rubber band is an inanimate object that cannot fix itself. It can't heal itself, but a human being can fix itself. That's the difference. So when we go out and exercise and we're doing the same thing with our muscles, we're stretching it like a rubber band. The difference is our body is designed to fix itself. So what happens is your body starts to rebuild, restructure the cells and rebuild whatever it is that you just made weak, so that it can no longer be weak, and you create strength, right? So you can strengthen up your muscles by exercising, and those muscles, when they're stronger, now think about this. Imagine a rubber band that is thicker, a bigger, thicker rubber band. If you stretch it, this is going to take way more energy, way more stretching to break it. You see the difference? A normal rubber band, it's weak because it doesn't have layers, right? A thick rubber band is stronger because it has layers. That's what happens with your body when it is repairing itself. It is adding layers and restructuring and rebuilding and making things thicker and tougher. That's why when you use your hands a lot with rubbing against things, you get blisters and eventually becomes callous, thick skin. Is because your body is naturally designed to fix itself, and the way it fixes itself with dealing with a problem over and over and over again is by creating thickness, okay? So you could do the same thing. You can build up strength with your lungs, your heart, and your stomach through exercise. Your lungs is obvious with exercise because you start to breathe faster and heavier, and that is creating, like a rubber band, is stretching it, and eventually it's going to heal itself and build it up and make it thicker, make it stronger, right? So running, even going for a simple walk, you don't have to freaking run. If you're a person who is in bad condition because you have never taken the time to exercise and you are feeling anxiety about even just exercising, then you should just walk. Just freaking walk. Because just walking alone requires you to breathe faster, and if you're breathing faster, you're stretching the muscles in your lungs, and so you're building up the strength in your lungs. Eventually, as you expose yourself to the environment outside by walking, or even on a treadmill by walking, you will feel more comfortable with exercising. Because one of the fears that we have with exercising is the fear of not being good enough at the exercise, the fear of getting sick, the fear of being judged, the fear of many things. Fear, fear, fear. That's anxiety. It's fear-based, right? So try to apply exercise to your life. And there's simple exercises also that have to do a lot with breathing. Like, for example, yoga. Yoga might be for some people, might not be for some people. Or even just calisthenic stuff like just doing push-ups, or excuse me, doing push-ups, doing pull-ups, doing squats, so forth, right? Just simple things that you can do within the comfort of your own room, in your own home, or even in your neighborhood, that can help you build up the strength of your muscles so that they do not vibrate easily. Again, back to the rubber band. If you take a skinny rubber band and you do this, it's gonna it's gonna bounce, right? Because it's weak. It doesn't have strength. But if you take a thick rubber band and do the same thing, it's stiff. There's a huge difference. So controlling anxiety through exercise is building strength in your muscles to allow you to no longer be so weak inside, internally, that your body does this and builds strength and stiffness so that you can feel less anxious. That is why it is important for you to exercise when it comes to anxiety, okay? Now, as for diet, the food, I talked about how some foods affect you. It's kind of common sense, you know? If you're gonna consume foods that are gonna raise your energy levels, energy drinks, energy bars, caffeine, high doses of vitamin Bs to increase energy, and taking large consumption of sugar through sodas and candies and so forth, all of these things are going to increase energy. Now, what happens when you increase energy in the body? You start to do this. You start to create vibrations in your body. In order for you to experience any kind of energy in the physics world is vibration. Okay? So basics of physics, Physics 101. Energy is a vibration of the structure of molecules or the environment or whatever it is, that if it's an object, the mass and so forth, right? If you vibrate anything, you are creating energy. Okay? So when you are consuming foods to create energy in your body, what are you doing? You're creating vibrations, creating resistance. If you just do this forever with your body, don't you think you will start to feel aching and pain? Of course, because it's not healthy and normal to freak out your body, to just keep like vibrating. Here's something in life that you can relate to that will make you understand why vibrating is not a good thing. Like permanently, like vibrating for long periods of time. Fire is vibration. In order for you to create fire in Physics 101, you have to have vibration of the atmosphere, the molecules in the atmosphere. It's the vibration of the molecules that creates that heat, that creates the fire, okay? That's why when you do any kind of exercise, like a rubber band stretching, it starts to get hot. It's because you're vibrating the molecules, okay? You're creating resistance, you're creating energy. If you are consuming a food that is supposed to give you energy, you are doing that to your body. You're creating essentially fire in your body. Do you think burning yourself on fire is healthy and normal? No, of course not. So think about it that way, right? Avoiding foods that create energy is the same thing as avoiding foods that's lighting you on fire. It's the same thing. Okay? 1 second. If you want a list of foods you should avoid to help condition or deal with your anxiety, just look it up. Okay? I'm not a freaking nutritionist. Don't ask me. I know simple things. The complicated things, I don't care to know, because there's no reason for me to retain an excessive amount of information if I could just go to the internet and get it when I need it, anytime I need to. Okay? We all have phones, we all have tablets, we all have computers everywhere, all over the freaking planet, anywhere you go. so you can look it up. But it is important to know that foods can affect you to have anxiety. It'll increase your heart rate. When you drink energy drinks or caffeine, you feel your heart rate increase. You will literally say, "Oh, my heart's beating so fast." When you have a traumatic experience, when you get fear, you are like, "Oh my gosh, my heart's beating so fast or so hard." Those are hard vibrations that are happening to you that's causing you to feel anxiety. Your heart palpitation, like how hard your heart's beating, how fast your heart's beating, how fast you're breathing, okay, how deep you're breathing, and ultimately you will feel your gut kind of get queasy and get nauseous and get tight and squeeze and ache and so forth. And that's again vibrations. Your stomach is tensing up. It's doing this. The same thing with your heart and your lungs. They're doing this. They're contracting and expanding at a rapid rate, at a quick speed that is creating vibrations, and it's not healthy. There's a reason why you get the anxiety. The anxiety is mainly a system, an alert system for your body to know that something is not okay. It's a natural instinctive thing. Fear is natural. It's a survival method. Our body has been designed to survive by having fear. So fear is natural and healthy. It's okay to be afraid. It's not okay to be so afraid that you can't live a normal life. That's the difference. That's what the difference between anxiety and just having fear. So foods and exercise, right? Now for your stomach, that's where the foods come in. Certain foods you eat are going to affect how your stomach feels. Your stomach, how your stomach feels is based on, excuse me, I keep burping, I'm sorry. How your stomach feels is based on the ecosystem. So your stomach has an entire world of its own inside of it. There's bacterias for bacterias for bacterias for bacterias. There's a whole community of bacteria down there. And they all work together to help each other to do things. Just like in society, or like when you watch ants or bees or just people, and they all serve a purpose. They're all like, there's the worker bees, there's the helper bees, there's the carriers, there's the movers, there's the thinkers. Same thing in your stomach. There's bacteria that serve different purposes. There's also acids that allow you to digest or break down food. And the bacteria is part of that acid system that helps you. The bacteria breaks down the food so you can process it and digest it. It breaks it apart and then it sends it into your bloodstream. You process it through your kidneys and so forth, and it becomes nutrition that your body can absorb, that creates fuel so that your heart can beat and that your lungs can breathe and so forth. Now, with your breathing, exercise. With your heart rate, exercise and foods. With your stomach, foods. Okay? And exercise also. Exercise can affect every inch of your body. It just depends which exercises you're doing that can affect different parts of your body. That's why it's kind of cool to be able to experience something like yoga, because yoga focuses on, if done right, there's different types of yoga, okay? Make sure you realize that. If you do the right yoga, or you look into the yoga and research it, you'll see that yoga is a very ancient practice, and there are ways to focus on different parts of your body and different parts of energy sources in your body. And if you learn to exercise different parts of your body, you can exercise your stomach and your heart and your lungs and everything else in your legs and arms and head and brain and whatever. So yeah, it's cool to be able to look into something like yoga. It'd be good for everybody to learn a little bit about it, because there are ways and techniques you can use that you might already be using in your life every day. You don't even realize is already yoga. Some of the things that we already do for stretching or for breathing is part of the yoga system. So you're already doing yoga sometimes. You don't even realize it, okay? Now, as for your stomach, the stomach is a complicated animal because the stomach has this entire ecosystem or networking of bacterium that you need to be able to help. Like, how do you help bacteria in your stomach if you don't even know how the hell bacteria works, right? That's complicated. That's science stuff. Well, there are certain values of nutrition, certain items inside of foods, chemicals, nutrients that you can digest, that you can eat, and you can swallow that will help the bacteria in your stomach grow, survive, or become stronger. Like yogurts or vinegars or those are like the main two. I'm not good, like, again, I'm not a nutritionist. I study these things to help myself and to help my family and my loved ones feel better and get better. But it doesn't mean that I have to memorize all of it because, again, I can always just go to the internet and remind myself of information that I don't need to fully remember all the time. And you can do the same thing, okay? But there are foods you can ingest or eat and swallow that will help your stomach. The other thing is the exercise part, right? Like doing sit-ups and crunches and stuff like that will help your abdomen area, will increase strength and lower the chances that your stomach will vibrate, and lowering the chances that you will vibrate anything in your body will lower the chances that you will have anxiety, okay? Because anxiety, again, is energy going up. And if you're vibrating any part of your body, that is energy going up. And so that is anxiety, basically. That's why anxiety is so complicated and weird, and difficult to deal with. And why it's so easy to get overwhelmed by it, to get intense anxiety, because there's so many things in your body that can cause you to get anxiety. What if everything starts going crazy at the same time? What if you have a bad stomach, terrible heart rate, and bad breathing all at the same time? You're gonna experience anxiety because you're getting all this fear from all the vibrations. Your body is turning on an alarm, right, to let you know that something is wrong, which is part of the anxiety process. Okay, so that's, the physiological, the physics and the body science aspect of anxiety, okay? I try to break this stuff down as simple as I can for you guys so that you guys can really understand what it is that I'm explaining to you, so you can really apply it to your life, okay? Now we're going to talk about the mental aspect of anxiety. How does anxiety affect your thinking? And how is it that we can deal with it, right? So let's try to use an in-practice experience, or an in-practice, or a real-life scenario. That's the right word I'm looking for, or right phrase I'm looking for. Let's use a real-life scenario. Let's say you have anxiety of driving, which a lot of people can relate to, because driving is a very scary thing, because there are so many things that can go wrong when you're inside of a box going 60 miles an hour, and there's many boxes around you, and you don't know what those other boxes are going to do to you, right? Or what your box is going to do, because you don't know when the wheels are going to give out or whatever. There's so many things that can cause you to be afraid, which will create vibrations in your body and create anxiety. So that's a good thing for me to talk about, a good example. Someone who is anxious about driving. Let's talk about how this is affecting that person mentally. The first thing is, most important of all, is they are thinking about all of the things that are making them afraid. What can you possibly be afraid of happening in the future, right? Because remember, I said depression is dealing with sadness of the things that happened in the past, but anxiety is dealing with fear of things that are going to happen in the present or future, right? Mainly the future, right? Because you're afraid of something happening, whereas you're being depressed of something that happened, past tense, okay? you are thinking about all of the things that could go wrong when you are dealing with anxiety of driving, right? Anything that could possibly go wrong. So think about it. What is the simplest thing you can do if the biggest problem you are experiencing is thinking about something going wrong? What's the opposite of that? It's to think that something is going right. To think about the good things and forget about the bad things. It is mental training. This is part, now I'm bleeding into the depression part, right? Because part of dealing with depression is the same thing as dealing with the mental part of anxiety. The mental part of anxiety should be dealt with the same training you should be applying with depression, which is to stop thinking negative things. You have to program yourself to stop thinking negative things, because the thoughts that you use in your mind will affect the feelings that you will feel in your heart mind. And the feelings you feel in your heart mind can create vibrations in your body that will make you feel anxiety. Okay? You see how it's all connecting together now? All right. If you are having certain situations, like let's say you are experiencing severe anxiety, and we're going to use the same exercise of thinking of ourselves as someone who's afraid of driving. A severe anxious person, a person who's severely anxious about driving, would never get in a car behind the wheel. They're too afraid to get behind the wheel, turn the car on and drive away. That's severe anxiety of driving, of doing something, okay? We're just using this as an exercise to understand how anxiety affects us mentally and physically, and try to figure out how we can get to a solution, how to deal with it, okay? Now, you could have so much anxiety, such severe anxiety, such deep anxiety, such bad anxiety, you are afraid of even sitting in the passenger seat of the car, okay? So this is even worse, because now you just don't even want to be in the box. You're like, screw that box. I'm not going in that damn thing. That thing is a coffin waiting to happen, right? Again, the process of dealing with that experience, of going through that anxiety is the thought that something is going to happen that's going to go wrong, okay? But the feeling that you get is what's stopping you. Think about this. It's not the thought that's stopping you. You're not saying, oh, I'm just going to stop. You're saying, oh, that feels freaking scary. It's a feeling. That's why I said earlier tonight, anxiety is dealing with feelings, not necessarily thoughts. Yes, thoughts affect you. It affects you, but it's not the source of the problem. The source of the problem is down here, not up here. It's down here, because you start to feel that fear. And that fear is crippling, because that's what, look, this is the big reason why a lot of people have problems with anxiety. It's not because the thoughts that are happening. We know that we're thinking something that doesn't make sense. We can process that. We can think, we know that what we're thinking is not normal. But it's not the thought that's stopping you. It's the feeling that's stopping you. Everything that's happening down here is stopping you because your body is feeling panic. It's freaking out. It's vibrating fast. Your heart's beating fast. Your lungs is breathing too fast. And your lungs are breathing too fast. And your stomach is digesting and processing things in a bad way because you're agitating and vibrating your stomach and creating stress down there, which ultimately agitates and pisses off the bacteria in your stomach and makes them upset, which creates gases, which gives you gas problems, which gives you digestion problems. You see how it's all connected, you guys? This is why it's important that I explain all that crap I explained earlier, so that you can put together all the pieces of the puzzle to see the big picture, okay? Now, when you're dealing with these issues, right, we need to ask ourselves, how do I do the opposite of being anxious about that situation? if you can relate to the exercise I'm talking about, whatever you are anxious about, we're all anxious about different things. If you can relate your experience to the car experience, let's go back to that, right? If your anxiety was about getting in a car, being in a car, or driving a car, what could you do that could make you not feel that fear anymore, right? Now we're going through the practice of trying to fix the problem, trying to figure out how to fix the problem. And part of that process is identifying or understanding what is the problem in the first place. What is the problem in the first place? What is it that you are afraid of in the first place? If you can't even identify what it is that you are afraid of, you will never know what to fix. You can't solve a problem if the problem on the board, if a teacher goes to a whiteboard and draws a question mark, what the hell are you going to solve? Nothing. Nothing. You're going to solve nothing. Nothing's ever going to change. There will be no change. So in order for you to start with the process of solving the anxiety you're experiencing or even the depression you're going through, you need to know what the source of the problem is, man. You got to know, what is it that's causing me to feel this way? What is causing me to think this way? So as a car driver, I had so much anxiety. I invested in a dash cam just about adapting. I get the dash cam thing. I get it. Because that is like a security blanket, right? It makes you feel comfortable that something is there to protect you, to have information, so that you know that when shit hits the fan, you can have a way to explain this situation, right? Not only if like an accident happened with someone else, but like with yourself. You know, the camera can show information. So that right there, what you did with the dash cam, is a small example of part of the things that I'm going to be talking about on how to deal with anxiety. That is a comfort thing. It's comforting yourself, which is the same thing you should be doing with depression as well. Is you need to comfort yourself, make yourself feel better. Okay, but back to the whole scenario of being afraid of driving or being in the car or being around cars. You need to, thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate that so much, dearest Prawn. Thank you for being here. I appreciate everyone who is here right now. All of you who are on Twitter, I'm sorry if you're trying to talk to me or say things in chat and I'm not able to respond. It's because my system is unable to communicate with you. So please switch over to Twitch or Mixer or YouTube, or you'll be able to communicate with me. So back to the scenario of being afraid of a vehicle or whatever has to do with a car, with driving and so forth. You need to think about what it is that is causing you to think bad things. Why are you thinking that you're gonna die in a car? Why are you thinking that the car is gonna run off the freeway? Why are you thinking that if you drive the car, you might kill someone because you don't know what you're doing? Why are you thinking the things you're thinking? Because you have to realize this, right? There is billions of people that drive every day. Why the hell can they do it and you can't, right? Why the hell can everyone else do something that you can't do? What's the difference? Why can they do it? Why can you not do it? That's the question you should be asking yourself. And when you can answer that question, when you can find out why you are afraid, you can figure out how you can not be afraid. Like, for example, what Poppy said. He was afraid. He has anxiety of driving, or had, and he dealt with it by getting himself a dash cam. That was his coping mechanism. It doesn't matter what you use to make yourself feel less anxious. The key is the successful story, or the way to get good results, positive results, is to do something about it. And the best way to do something about it is to do anything about it. That's the biggest problem that people who deal with anxiety have with dealing with anxiety. They have so much fear that they're too afraid to do something. So, first of all, we need to identify what I just did in that exercise. I started asking questions that have to do with the situation that is making me feel uncomfortable. Why am I uncomfortable? I'm uncomfortable because I'm thinking this way. So how do I think in a different way? How do I reprogram myself to think differently so I no longer think that way? That's what you should be asking yourself when you're dealing with anxiety with particular subjects, situations, or places. You should be asking yourself these questions. You should be very curious about why you are having a problem so that you can figure out how to fix that problem. If you guys are not asking difficult questions, you're going to get simple results. And simple results are never going to create permanent solutions. Did you hear what I just said? Simple results and simple questions are not going to create complicated results or complicated solutions that are not going to be permanent. Simple results and simple questions will create temporary solutions, which means it's temporary, it's part-time, it's not forever. It's going to happen again. You didn't solve the problem. That's not problem solving. Problem solving is not fixing something really fast, putting some duct tape on it and saying, oh, well, it's good, it's fixed. That's not how you solve problems. Problem solving is identifying the source of the problem at the deepest level that you can find, breaking the information down in layers and figuring out every layer of the problem until you can create a solution for every layer until there is no more problems left. That's problem solving. Problem solving is thinking deep about what's happening until you break it down into many, many parts, and you take all of those parts and you create a solution for every single part until there is no more bad parts. There's nothing but good parts. Problem solving 101, my guy. This is how you do it, okay? So the number one way of dealing with your anxiety is, first of all, take the time to sit your ass down for a moment. Stop being so damn ADHD. I'm kidding around. I'm ADHD, so I'm talking about myself. I'm kind of yelling at myself right now, okay? So don't take it personal. But sit your ass down. Think about your problem deeply. Write it down. There's no better exercise or practice in life than writing shit down, you guys. Write it down. Write it down. Write it down. Write it down. Like, write it down, okay? When you're dealing with anything in life, write it down. Because writing it down, what that does is it forces you to take the time to think about your hand moving. And when you're thinking about your hand moving, you're thinking about the words that you need to say. And when you think about the words you need to say, you just took the time to slow down your brain to think about what it is you want to say. And when you slow down your brain to think about whatever it is that you want to say, you are taking the time to be mindful, to think about what it is that's going on with you. This is why it's important to write things down. Whether it's your planning for your day, your schedule for your week, or dealing with your anxiety or depression. You should be creating solutions for your problems. Stop thinking about your problems as just problems, because that's a question mark. You can't solve a freaking question mark. You can only solve a problem that you understand. This is why I spend the time to talk to you guys in deep detail about all of the things that have to do with these issues that we're experiencing, these subjects that I'm talking about. There are very many layers of different things that affect why you're having the problem you're having. This is why people aren't getting results. They're not getting better because they don't realize that how complicated these problems are, how complicated anxiety can be, and how complicated depression can be. And so when you understand how complicated it is because you understand the science behind it, like I explained tonight, then you can break down the information into different layers, different categories, or different tiers, so that you can build a hierarchy, so you can practice value. You can say, this is the most fearful thing I have, this is the least fearful, and you put them in order and you take them on one at a time, one step at a time. So when I talk about the process of breaking down what it is that's causing you to feel the way you're feeling about anxiety, you need to realize that dealing with anxiety, fixing anxiety, is all about taking the time to think things through carefully and taking the time to think about what's happening before you even try to fix it. Here's the #1 mistake people make that I made, okay? When it comes to anxiety. #1 mistake that everybody makes, okay? All of us is guilty. All of us are guilty for this issue, for this mistake. We all make this mistake. We have anxiety, and so we hurry to get rid of the anxiety, like, oh, we gotta get rid of this anxiety. And then we force ourselves to do something else to stop feeling anxious, and that is the worst thing you could ever do. Do not ever force yourself to deal with anxiety. Because what happens when you force something? Think about the science of the body that I spoke about, or even physics 101, what I spoke about. What is it that is causing the anxiety? Energy, vibrations. What happens when you force something? You are forcing, which is creating tension, and that tension is creating energy. You want to avoid that energy at all costs in order for you to fix yourself with your anxiety. The #1 solution to solving anxiety is to stop feeling anxious. And to stop feeling anxious is to stop the vibrations in your body, to stop that energy, to slow it down. Relax. Relax. And so the best way to deal with anxiety is to not force yourself to deal with it, but to take your time. So before, let's go back to this scenario of somebody that's dealing with anxiety of driving, right? Before you are stupid enough to get in the car and force yourself to get back on the road with anxiety, that is the worst damn thing you could ever do. You are a person who is having a mental issue and a physical issue with going into a machine because you're afraid of the machine causing something bad to happen, and you're gonna go with that fear and drive around. Bro, you just made yourself the most dangerous thing on that road. Literally. Because you can have a panic attack at any time in that car, and it's game over for the mailbox, the cat, the mailman, or the person who's driving next to you. That's the worst thing you can do. So what you should do is, instead of going straight to the problem, like whatever it is that you're afraid of, instead of going to it and facing it, that's not how you deal with anxiety. What you should be doing is taking your time to think it through, write it down, break it down into layers, and figure out how can I think about this differently. When you have a problem, the solution to a problem is the opposite of the problem. If it's bad, make good. If it's sad, make happy. If it's angry, make happiness. If it's vibrating, then slow it down. If it's burning, then cool it down. You know what I mean? Like, it's always the opposite. This is how we create what's called balance. Okay? We create balance in your life by identifying one side of the picture and introducing another side of a different picture. You don't go back to the same old crap. That's how you keep stuck. That's how you stay stuck. Is because you keep going back and doing the same damn thing. That's the worst thing you could do, is to repeat something that's bad. If you keep repeating something that's bad, you're gonna make something that's worse. This is how people end up in worse anxiety. Because the #1 mistake we make is we face our anxiety with more anxiety, then we get anxious, and we get more anxiety, and we become even more anxious about the anxious situation that we were anxious about. You see what I'm saying here? It sounds so ridiculous when I'm saying it with words that are coming out of my mouth, but the truth is, reality is, it really is that ridiculous. We are behaving ridiculously. We are choosing to be ridiculous because we're doing things we should not be doing. And it's not because we're stupid. It's not because we are broken. It's because we're not educated. We don't know any better. It's because you didn't know any better. You didn't understand all this stuff I'm talking about tonight. That's why you should be here, and that's why you are here. It's because we need someone to explain to us this stuff. Once it's explained to you, you start to gain knowledge and wisdom that allows you to be wiser about your decisions. So you should be wiser about your decision on how you deal with anxiety. The number one thing you should never do is face it head on with more anxiety. You should be thinking about it first. Once you think about it, you can try to think about ways to do the opposite. If you're afraid of the car going off the road, that's the reason why you're so anxious, then try to find ways to keep the car from going off the road. If the car is going off the road because you have bad tires, make sure you have perfect brand new tires. If the car is going off the road because you are too tired, then make sure your ass is getting enough sleep. You know what I'm saying? There is always a way to fix things, guys. Don't ever think that there isn't a solution. We live in an infinite world. There's an infinite ways to deal with infinitum, okay? There's always a way. There's always a way, okay? So, number one thing to do when you have anxiety, sit down, write the damn thing down, take a moment to think about it, okay? Here's another way that we can deal with it. Once you can start to realize what your anxiety is, you know exactly what it is, because here's the thing, even though you think one thing is your anxiety source, there's no such thing. You can have anxiety of many things. No matter how confident a person seems, no matter how much courage you see in a human being that you know, they have anxiety too. Everybody has anxiety. Everybody deals with it. Difference is that some people know how to deal with it, and some people have very little, which is just fear, not anxiety, and some people have a lot, and some people don't know how to deal with it. That's why we're here together tonight, so that we can talk about how we can learn how to deal with it, so we can understand what it is and how to deal with it. Okay? Now, write stuff down, think about it. Now that brings us to the next thing. It is very important that because your body is vibrating and creating energy that goes up, and that's causing you to feel anxious, because we're dealing with energy going up, heart rate beating faster, lungs beating faster, air going in faster, not controlling your breathing mindfully, and your stomach getting achy and contracting and vibrating because you're stressed out and you have fear in your gut. One way to deal with all of this is to practice meditation. It's such a taboo thing to talk about meditation in our culture in the US, because it's something that is not normal to our society here, whereas it is absolutely normal and common practice in other places. And it's difficult for people to think about meditation, because the problem with meditation for everyone is that you are dealing with so much thinking problems. Excuse me again. You're dealing with so much thinking problems. You have so many problems in your mind that you're thinking about that you can't make the time to sit your ass down for a moment and teach yourself to not think about problems. We are so caught up in facing our problems. Society has taught us the wrong thing, you guys. We have been programmed to do the wrong thing. Everybody teaches us to face our problems. How often do you hear people say, face your problems? You need to face them. You can't run away from your problems, right? It's not correct. What they're trying to say is correct, but the way they're saying it is wrong. You should never just face your problems. You should think about your problems. Then go and talk about the things you thought about. You should think about what's going on and then go and talk about what you thought about, what you were thinking about. Talk about what you were thinking about. You should never go and face it aimlessly like a freaking bull. You're not a bull. You're not an aimless, mindless animal who doesn't know how to intellectually think things through. That's the advantage that we have that makes us human beings that's superior to every other animal on our planet, is that we are capable of processing information. So don't be stupid by not using that gift. You have a gift to think. Use it. think about things, break the information down, problem solve by creating solutions until there are no longer any more problems. Once you do that, then take that, what you just learned, and go and use it in the environment or the experience or with the person or with the thing that you are anxious of. Okay? That is the biggest thing that we need to understand with dealing with anxiety. Now, what is the easiest way for us to think about a problem if our problem is another problem? We think too much. We have too many damn things in our head, so we can't make the time or the room in our head to think, right? The number one way to do that, you guys, is through meditation. What meditation allows you to do is to force yourself to sit your ass down for a second. Stop being so ADHD and spazzy. Talking to myself, by the way. Sit down and take a moment to listen carefully to what I'm about to say. Take a moment to think about your breathing. Everybody tells you, you should meditate, and what you need to do is clear your mind. Clear your mind. How the fuck do you expect me to clear my mind if the problem is that I have too much on my mind? I have too much on my mind, so how am I supposed to stop thinking if all I do is think, right? Right? Am I not talking for... Am I not saying it for everybody? Isn't that how everyone feels, right? The problem is, people don't know what the hell they're talking about because they don't truly understand how to break stuff down, right? Remember when I first started therapy gaming, I said, the reason why I'm doing this is because I have a gift of understanding how to break things down into simpler to understand information. And I'm going to use that talent to present the information to you guys in a way you can understand, right? This is a practice that took me years of my life to do. It's not a gift that I was born with. There's no such thing as someone being born with a gift unless it's a physical change. Like they literally have like a, anyway. Gifts are a blessing that you have trained yourself to earn, okay? 99% of the population has a gift that they have learned through the process of practice, okay? I have practiced the ability to break information down so that I can create solutions, which makes me a paid problem solver. That's literally what I get paid to do, is solve problems with technology. I have a particular industry I work in, but I'm technically being paid to be a problem solver. So I literally get paid to do that, okay? That's my job. Now, the reason why I'm talking about that is because that's what we need to do, is we need to practice writing the things down and breaking it down into layers so that we can figure out how to think about it in a more positive way, how to create a positive solution to a negative problem. If you use meditation, what you should be doing is you should be focusing on breathing. That's it. You sit your ass down in a chair. You cross your legs. You don't cross your legs. You lay in bed. You go wherever it is that you feel is comfortable. That's key. That is vital. That is important. You must be comfortable, okay? Because you're new to it. If you're new to it, you don't know what the hell you're doing. You feel weird. You feel uncomfortable, you feel anxious because you're doing something that's not normal. Because it's not normal in our society in the US, it's not normal to meditate. It's just taboo. It's different, right? Be in a comfortable space, sitting down, laying down, whatever it is that you want to do. Hang from the ceiling like Dracula. I don't give a shit what you do, okay? That's your thing. Feel comfortable. You know what my favorite place in the whole universe is to be comfortable when I'm meditating? My favorite place in the world to meditate is to go in the tub in hot water, submerge myself all the way in the hot water until I can just have my nose above the water or my face above the water breathing, and then just close my eyes and let the water cover my ears, and it deafens me. It makes all the sounds in the air just go, they hum and disappear, right? So no more distractions because my ears are submerged in water, and so it's just like stopping all the noise. And then I just lay there and I just focus on my breathing. I think about how hard am I breathing? How can I slow it down? How slow can I make it? How comfortable do I feel with my breathing? Can I feel more comfortable? Do I feel comfortable with my lungs? Do my lungs feel healthy? And how long can I keep this going? Can I last 5 minutes? Can I last 10 minutes? Can I forget about the world? My breathing should be more important than everything else that is happening in the world. I'm no longer thinking about my problems. I'm thinking about just breathing. Breathing. When you meditate, the number one way to learn to meditate is to just focus on breathing. That's it. Once you learn how to meditate, that's the number one step to meditation, is learning how to meditate. Then you can actually practice meditation. That's not even meditating yet. That's just learning how to get into the mindset. Teaching your brain how to meditate, but you're not meditating yet. That's not meditation. Hold on. Once you get yourself to focus on your breathing, the first thing you just succeeded at doing is you just successfully taught yourself how to stop thinking about anything else. You're so focused on your breathing that you forgot about all the problems that you are constantly thinking about. That is the goal and purpose of meditation. Many people will say many things about meditation, but no matter what anybody says, no matter how they explain it, no matter what they talk about, the ultimate goal and purpose of meditation is to clear the mind by learning and teaching the mind how to focus on nothingness. To focus on breathing, on air. You're so focused on air, you forgot about everything else. When other thoughts creep into your mind and you start to forget about your breathing, all you do is force yourself to focus back on your breathing. That's the trick. That's the skill. That's the technique that you need to adapt by teaching yourself how to meditate. That is meditation. When you achieve the goal of taking your mind from focusing on breathing to going to thinking about something else, getting distracted, and then forcing your brain to go back to breathing, you are successfully finally meditating. When you can take yourself out of thinking and back into just breathing, focusing on just breathing and nothing else, you are successfully meditating. You have successfully cleared your mind and allowed yourself the freedom of the jail that you live in inside your head. You live in a jail cell that is filled with voices that are constantly yelling and screaming and saying things, uttering words. We live in a freaking jail in our head with people that we have to live with that we can't control. Voices that are constantly, the voices are thoughts. We constantly are talking to ourselves like, oh, you shouldn't do this. Oh, you should do that. Oh, blah, blah, blah. But how do you attempt to meditate? What do you mean by that question, Poppy? What do you mean by how do you attempt to meditate? Because I literally just explained that what you do is just you sit down, you lay down, you put yourself in a comfortable space, and all you do is close your eyes and think about breathing in and breathing out. And you're listening to your breath. You're listening to the sound of your breath going in and out of your lungs and your throat. And you're thinking about how fast the air is going in and how fast the air is coming out. Sorry, I've tried to sit down and focus on breathing and clear my mind, but still. Yeah, so you have successfully attempted to meditate, but you have not successfully meditated. To meditate itself, you have to train your mind to focus on your breathing after you have been distracted. So you start with starting to meditate is easy, right? You just close your eyes and you focus on breathing. But continuing into meditation is hard because what you have to do is you have to ninja. You have to like fight yourself to, like, your brain's going to start thinking about your bills and your ex and your wife and your kids and your family and your mother and your son and the car and the road and the clouds and the tree. You're thinking about all this stuff. And when that happens, what you do is you say, oh, no, stop, shut up. My breathing, I forgot about my breathing. And then you start to think, breath in, breath out. Good air in, breathe in oxygen, bad air out. Good energy in, bad energy out. You see what I'm saying? So meditating successfully, learning how to actually meditate is about being a ninja, a mental ninja. You gotta like learn to teach your brain to stop the thinking and focus on something else. And you keep doing that over and over again until time has passed. The more time has passed, the longer you have successfully meditated. And you will get to a point with meditation where 5 minutes will go by, 10 minutes will go by, 30 minutes will go by. I had a point in my life when I was healthy, because I'm dealing with problems, like everybody who has been here knows that I've been going through my own issues. But I had a point in my life where my meditation was so successful and I was so healthy that I would meditate for like 2.5 hours and not even know it. That's when you're really meditating. I'm not saying you have to meditate for 2 hours. Don't be ridiculous. What I'm saying is, you have to learn to meditate long enough that you forget about time. That's what I'm saying. I've meditated so long that I forgot about time. And then I would come back and then like hours have passed and I'm like, holy crap, I feel like I'm in a whole different world. Because so much time has passed by that it is alien. It's weird to the brain to think about life without time. We've literally grown up our entire existence as human beings on this planet thinking about time. That's all we know. Memories are time. The only way we know that time exists is because we have a memory that we can remember from a long time ago, and that gives us an idea of how much time has gone by. We can only measure time based on memory. So a person who cannot retain memory cannot really be a good judge of time. They will be forgetful of the past of experiences and how much time has gone by. So when you go into deep meditation, that's what happens with you, is that so much time goes by that when you snap back to reality, it feels like you're in a whole different world because so much time has gone by, your brain is like, this is weird, what just happened? I have a huge gap in my mind. There's nothing there, okay? So that's the goal, is that first you focus on breathing. That's the number one step. Second, you focus on how do I keep focusing on breathing. When you can do that successfully for longer than 20 minutes, when you can do that successfully for longer than 20 minutes, you're successfully meditating. When you are successfully meditating, you can begin to apply other meditation techniques. There are many, many meditation techniques, all for different goals. There are many, many goals that you can achieve with meditation, okay? I am bringing up meditation not to talk about meditation. I'm bringing up meditation to talk about how do we deal with anxiety. Now, we were talking about how we need to break down the information that have to do with our anxiety, right? We have to problem solve. We got to figure out how many layers of this problem do I have? How deep and how far does this problem go? How many problems does this one problem cause in my life? And how do I create solutions for each one of these problems until I no longer have a problem, okay? Once you can do that, what you can do is go into meditation as an exercise and then use that meditation after you learn how to meditate by controlling your breathing and focusing on your breathing to think about the problem and how you thought about the solutions you thought about. Then what you can do is in your meditation, you can imagine solving the problem that you have. Okay, that's why I'm bringing up meditation and how to do it, because I break everything down so we can understand it, so that way we can learn how to apply it to solve problems. Give me a second. So, once you can think about the different layers of your problem and you can think about different ways to solve those problems until you no longer have a problem, you should try to meditate on the problem, okay? First, learn to just focus on your breathing and forget about everything by forcing your brain to focus on breathing and nothing else for a long period of time, for like 20 minutes. When you can do that, start thinking. After 20 minutes has gone by of your meditating, And when you meditate often enough, you'll know how much time goes by because you're training your brain to know, oh, I just meditated for 20 minutes. And then you know, okay, when you feel in your head like, oh, I've meditated for so long, you feel in your chest and you're like, oh, okay, maybe 20 minutes have gone by, right? When you get to that point, you can start to think through your problems clearly. Because what I just did was I just gave you a tool to allow you to get your brain to stop thinking about problems, clear your mind, so that you could focus all of your mind's energy on solving the problem of anxiety. You're taking all of the energy you're wasting on all the voices in your head. It's just energy wasted. You're just wasting time thinking about all this crap. Take all that energy, take 100% of it, and focus it all in on one problem. Now, if you take 5% of your energy and you focus it on a problem, or if you take 100% of your energy and you focus it on a problem, which one do you think is going to be more successful? Which one do you think is actually going to work? It's actually going to solve the problem. 100%, all the time, 100%, okay? So if you want to be more successful at dealing with your anxiety or even your depression, apply meditation into your life so that you can have a tool to teach your brain to shut the hell up so that you can think about your problem with more energy. That way, you can really imagine being in the car and imagine not having bad wheels. Imagine not getting in an accident. Imagine not driving faster. Imagine not having problems. Imagine having solutions to those problems. When you can imagine them, you can feel them. When you can imagine in your mind through meditation, you can really imagine, really put yourself there. You can picture that you are somewhere else doing something else. You have used the power of your mind to create reality within your head. And when you create reality within your head, you could create feelings within your chest. And those feelings are never fake. You see, your thoughts in your mind can be fake. They can trick you. Your brain can trick you. And this is normal to humans or to animals in general. But your heart can never trick you because those are feelings. And feelings are something that cannot be tricked. Feelings are, the feeling happens no matter what. Like it's in your chest, it's in your heart. It's part of your heart mind. Your heart brain is thinking about something that's making you feel that way. A chemical reaction is happening, right? So when you can imagine in your mind the solution to your problems, when you can really focus all your energy and think about it, you are literally making yourself, you're changing the way you're feeling. You're changing the vibrations from anxiety to being still, to having peace, to having balance. Because you're taking the bad and you're adding the good inside your head and you're imagining how it feels. You're like, man, this feels good. I could go for a drive right now. I could go on the freeway right now. I hate going on the freeway, but I could go on the freeway right now because I feel good, man. It feels good to know that everything is going to be okay. You see what I'm saying? Like, you got to know how to judo chop your problem, like chop it up like a chef chopping up some vegetables into pieces, then know how to glue all those pieces together so that it's healthy to eat, safe to eat. When you can do that, then you can imagine what it's like to feel that experience. You don't have to actually go do it. That's the worst part. That's what you're supposed to avoid, facing your problem. You don't face your damn problems. You figure out how to deal with them first. Then, when you figure out how to deal with them, you go and apply what you learned how to deal with them. That's how you successfully deal with anxiety, my friend. That's the way. That's the way to do it. Okay? Break it down. Think about it. Focus on it. Feel good about it. Then go and try what feels good. Never try what feels bad. Never use anxiety to combat anxiety. Never use anxiety to fix anxiety. That's silly. That's absolutely silly. Okay? That's like the biggest thing with, like, you know, look, we have exercise, we have food, but think about this, right? I want you guys to think about what I'm talking about. Everything I talked about tonight, I'm gonna reiterate. I'm gonna repeat what I said very briefly. I'm gonna summarize, okay? I'm gonna summarize. Between eating and exercising, and training your mind to think positively about something you think badly about or feel badly about. Which one of those three do you think is going to be most successful? Honestly, be honest with yourself. Of the three things of exercising, eating food that like knowing what to eat and not to eat, or training your brain and your heart to feel good and think good, which one do you think is going to work the best? Training your brain and your heart, bro. So really, you don't have to exercise or eat a different food, but remember what I taught you guys tonight. Anxiety is energy, and eating the wrong foods will give you energy you shouldn't have that creates anxiety, and not exercising will give you weak muscles in your body, in your chest, and in your lungs and heart and so forth that will create vibrations, that will create energy that will make you weak to anxiety. So adding the exercise and adding the diet, controlling what you eat, to the process of thinking your problems through and breaking it down, if you do all three of them, could you imagine how big of a difference you will make in your life if you really just like took it serious? The problem is, right, that we're anxious people. We're dealing with anxiety. So it makes us anxious to deal with too many things. The number one thing that you should always know about anxiety that I said earlier is never just face it. It's the worst thing you can do. Number one thing you should always do is take one step at a time. One step at a time. One step at a time. Okay? Which means small baby steps, baby. Small baby steps. Okay? First thing is, think about it. That's the first thing. Think about it. Okay? Break it down. Write it down. Don't be a jerk. Write it down. Okay? Write it down. Break it down into layers. Write it down. Think about it. Give yourself the time to really think about the problem and try to come up with solutions. Okay? Write it down. Think about it. Take it one step at a time. It might take you 3 months of just sitting there going back and forth because it makes you anxious to think about the problem, right? I get that. It might take you 3 months to make one page. But do you rather not do that and never get better? Or do you rather take your time and do it in like 5 minutes a day for like 1 day a week? Everybody can do that, okay? Everybody can spend 5 minutes on a piece of paper, 2 minutes on a piece of paper, once a week, once a month. Who cares how often you do it, as long as you do it. And remind yourself that you gotta do it. And then that's the healthiest way to do it. The healthiest way to deal with anxiety is to take it easy. Take it slow. Take your time. Take your time when you're dealing with stuff. Look, anxiety is a fear of vibrations. You're afraid of that feeling. Avoid the feeling. Avoid the stress. Avoid the thinking. And avoid the problems by not going to the problem. Eliminate the problem from your life until you're ready to go to it by thinking about it first, going to it later. Reduce the stress that you have. Stop being stressed out by getting away from whatever it is that's stressing you out. Get away from it, okay? I don't care what you have to do. You get away from it, okay? Stop being stressed out. Think your problem through first. And then try to take your time when you're in a safe place away from everything. If you have anxiety because you are around people that are giving you anxiety, toxic people, hurtful people that are giving you anxiety and depression, you need to get the hell away from those people. It doesn't matter if you permanently get away from people or if you temporarily get away from people. What matters is, remember what I said about anxiety. One step at a time, baby steps, take it easy. So if you can't get away from people permanently, baby steps, baby. Baby steps. Go for a freaking walk to get away from them. Go to a library, to a cafe. Indulge yourself in a bad coffee and bad sugar inside that delicious frap. Away from the people that are making you upset, that are making you anxious. Stay away from the car that is making you anxious. Call someone to drive you. Take a bus, ride a bike, walk. Don't drive if you don't have to, if you have anxiety of driving. Whatever it is that is the source of your problem that's making you anxious, thank you so much for whoever just showed me the love. You deserve far more. Yeah, everybody deserves far more. Everybody. Everybody deserves abundance. Everybody deserves everything. Are you kidding me? Everybody deserves everything. I'm not sure what just happened. My system is not telling me if someone followed me or if someone subscribed to me. But thank you for whoever just did that. I heard the announcement, but I don't see the description of what just happened. But yeah, whatever the source of your problem is that is causing you anxiety, you need to get away from it. Because the worst thing you can do with anxiety is create stress. Because do you know what stress is? After everything I talked about tonight, you guys should know the answer to this question. Do you know what stress is? Stress is tension. It is creating vibrations in your body. The reason why your neck hurts, why your back hurts, why your head hurts is because you're stressed out, and the stress is tensing up your muscles, which is creating vibrations, which is creating tension, which is creating fire, which is breaking you down, which is damaging you, hurting you, and that's why you feel pain. Pain is an alert system. It's an alarm for your body to tell you that something is wrong. When you feel pain, you should realize something is wrong, and when something is wrong, you need to figure out a solution to that problem. Don't just ignore it, and don't just think of it as a problem. Create a solution by writing it down, breaking it down, and figuring out how can I fix this, okay? Do your homework by thinking it through and looking it up and asking for help and reaching out to people. If you have anxiety of people because you can't get around people, then don't go around people. Spend some time with yourself, meditate, write it out, write about why you feel so anxious being around people, write about what it is that makes you afraid. Figure out how it is that you are becoming afraid and find out what it is that you can do to stop being afraid. Think about it, meditate on it, process it, really sit with it and feel it. Feel the pain, feel the sadness, and then think about the happy things that you could do to make yourself stop feeling the sadness and the hurt. You have to go through this process of healing. Part of the process of healing is dealing with the pain so that you can find the feel good. In order to feel good, you need to go through the pain so that you can feel better. The pain is a temporary thing. Pain is not permanent. It is not natural for us to be in pain. It is natural for us to be happy. That's natural. That's why when you feel happy, you feel good. Your body feels healthy. You feel energized. You feel like you can run a mile. You feel like you can conquer the world. All those feelings of like just power and energy and strength and courage, all those feelings are natural. That's why if you get those feelings, when you feel sad and hurt and lost and depressed and upset and mad and angry and irritated and annoyed and frustrated, when you feel negative things, when all these bad feelings are coming inside of you or happening inside of you, it is not natural to feel that way. That's why you end up becoming suicidal, because it is your body's natural behavior to feel like, I need to stop feeling this way. I am in an emergency situation. It's an emergency. I have to stop feeling this way. And so you go into suicidal mode and suicidal thought processes because you are in survival mode. Your body doesn't like that you're feeling that way. It's not healthy. It's not normal. So don't ever think or feel that that shit is normal or healthy. It's not. Normal and healthy is happiness. You just don't know how to get it. And so that's why we're here. That's why we're all here, so that we can understand and break down this information to know how to get there. Okay, we're talking about how to get there. One step at a time, baby. One step at a time, okay? It was bits, you're right though. Oh, thank you so much for the bits. Whoever, was it you, Poppy? Thank you so much, whoever did that. Yeah, you know, the stuff I'm talking about, you guys, is really complicated, but not. You know what I mean? Really, when I summarize, let me summarize it for you to hear it, okay? Food, exercise, thinking, talking, writing, okay? Like, take your time. The longer you take, the better. Don't ever feel, look, feeling rushed, feeling hurried when you have anxiety is the worst thing that could ever happen to your life. You need to find a way to stop feeling rushed and stop feeling anxious. Stop feeling like you have to do something. You don't need to do shit. Don't ever have anyone ever convince you that you need to do anything. Unless your ass is about to die because something is gonna crush you, you should not have to feel hurried to do anything, ever. Okay? I don't care if it's your boss. I don't care if it's your wife. I don't care if it's your child. I don't care what the situation is. Okay? I don't care if someone is even dying. I'm serious when I say that. You cannot be the best of you. You cannot be helpful or useful to anyone or anything else. You cannot be functional or useful if you can't even snap out of your anxiety, if you're not healthy mentally. What good are you going to do by bringing your anxiety into an environment that is anxious? You're just going to create more anxiety. So never, ever, ever convince yourself or have anyone or anything else convince you that you should be rushed to do anything ever. If you feel rushed because there is a situation in your life that is making you hurried, because bills are around the corner, because you are going to lose your home, because you are going to lose someone, what you need to do is find a way to not feel rushed. Find somewhere else to stay. Find other bills. Stop paying those bills and find something else. Look, there is always a way for you to find a different way to do things. Always. Always. Okay? And if you can't figure it out by yourself, you need to find someone that can help you figure it out. A counselor, a therapist, a psychiatrist, a friend, a family member, a loved one. I don't care. I don't care. You need to reach out to ask for help. It's the best thing you can ever do, because I can't feel even more proud of saying the best thing you can do is ask for help, because I had to do that just these last couple weeks because I ended up in the worst case scenario places in my life. I lost my home. I lost my family. I lost everything. Everything. All of this has been happening to me for months now, and the worst, I lost my home. I became homeless just recently, okay? I have to get the hell out of where I'm at right now in like 4 days, okay? But you know what? I reached out for help. I did. I reached out for help. And for the first time in my life, someone reached back out. And I finally am getting some relief. I'm finally feeling like everything's gonna be okay. Like, I knew everything was gonna be okay because I'm an optimist by nature. I'm naturally a positive person. But I didn't have trust in that everything, I didn't have faith in that everything was going to be okay because I didn't have anyone to convince me, right? I reached out for help to family, to friends, to the community, even into our community, and people responded. And I'm going to be moving into a new place. Granted, I'll be living with someone else, but I'm going to be around people. And there's nothing more healthy for someone to do than to be around people when they're depressed. Because for those of you who have been around know that I've been dealing with depression and anxiety. I've been dealing with both of these problems in my life. And being around people that are positive, that are supportive, whether it's a friend, a family, or even a professional, it is the best feeling in the world. And the biggest problem we have with dealing with anxiety and depression is feeling bad, is feeling sad, feeling hurt, feeling angry. So what better thing to do than to be around someone or anyone or anything that can make you feel good, make you feel happy, make you feel excited. Even just a little bit. Even just a little bit. You know, you don't need a whole lot to survive and to get better. You just need a little bit at a time so that you can have enough to build up something bigger. It takes steps, it takes patience, it takes time to build something that is worthwhile lasting a lifetime. If you really want to live a richer, happier, healthier life, you should take the time and the patience to wait patiently and think about and practice and apply positive things and use the tools that I talk about in therapy gaming to apply to your life so that you can live a healthier, richer life over time, forever. Not a temporary thing, forever. Stop getting temporary quick solutions. They don't work. Pills will help people that are in a really, really bad place. Pills should not be considered for people who have the ability to still think clearly. If you are like me and you're still able to clearly think through what is going on in your life, avoid the pills. Try to apply healthy, natural ways of healing yourself back to a good place. Instead of drinking coffee that gives you energy, drink tea. Instead of getting energy drinks, drink tea. Instead of eating sugar, eat fruits. There's always a different way of doing things. There's always a better, healthier way of doing things. If you can't run when you need to exercise, then walk. If you can't meditate because you can't clear your mind, then take a shower. Go for a swim. Crochet. Build a puzzle. Draw up a drawing. Paint a painting. Do something that is quiet, that is peaceful, that is calm, to get your mind to focus on just one thing and forget about everything else. Meditation is not closing your eyes and folding your legs. When people hear the word meditate, they think, oh, you gotta close your eyes and you need to fold your legs and sit there like a Hindu or a Buddhist or an Indian or whatever people that meditate, or a yoga person, and just and like clear your mind. That's not meditation, bro. That's not what meditation is. Meditation is the practice of being able to clear your mind from noise and focus your mind on something pleasant, like your breathing, or your painting that you're painting, or your swim that you're swimming, or the fish in the aquarium that you're looking at. Go to a freaking aquarium. Go to a zoo. Go somewhere that is peaceful and quiet. If you gotta avoid people, then try to avoid people by doing something at home. If you feel depressed at home, get the fuck out of your house. Go in the backyard. Go in the front yard. Go for a walk. You want to draw something somewhere else? Go to the park and draw. You wanna write a poem? Take your laptop, your tablet, your phone, go to a park and do it. If you're in a place that makes you feel unhappy and anxious, get out. If you're around people that make you anxious and sad, get away. There's always a way. You just need to hear it from someone else, which is what I'm doing. I'm reminding you. And you need to do it. You just gotta do it. You just gotta remind yourself that life is not as complicated as you make it. Remember what I'm saying right now. Life is not as complicated as you make it. Because the world that you live in is created by your mind and no one else. You control your world. You are God. We are God. We control our universe. Outside of everything that's around us, everything else, the other God that is superior, the other people who are their own gods, they control their lives and their world. The universe controls itself. But our world is controlled by us. We are the God of our experience. You have to realize that. You have to be empowered. You have to feel courage and strength and energy to know, to feel confident, to feel relieved to know that you control you and you are in control. You're in power, not your body, not your mind, not your friends, not your family, not the car, not the house, not the woods, not the freaking park, not your computer, not your phone. Whatever it is that's in your life that you feel is controlling you, it's not. You are controlling you. You take you and you go do something else. You go and make that change. Get away from it. If you need time to get peace, get off your damn phone. Stop playing on your laptop. Stop playing the video games. Take a moment to sit down and write things out. Think it through. Take time to think it through. Process it. And meditate. Use the practice of meditation to create peace in your mind. To learn how to lower the voices in your head. Create calmness. Soothe yourself. Stop being so crazy. Okay? And meditation, like I was saying, is not the practice that people think it is. It is to clear your mind. It's to focus on something else. So by painting, people meditate when they paint. I meditate when I drive. Because I grew up with a heart, with a love and passion for driving. I used to race cars professionally. And so when I drive, I feel like nothing else matters. Everything is just flying by me. Everything is gone. And I don't need to worry about the house that's behind me. I don't need to worry about the people that are in that house. I don't need to worry about the people that are outside because they're not in my car. Go for a drive. If you enjoy driving like I do, put some good music on, some meditation music. I do that a lot. Put some meditation music on. Put some chanting, some Buddhist chanting. Put some EDM electronic music that's soothing to you. Put some trance on. Put something soothing on that doesn't have foul words or stupid words or upbeat energy. When you're dealing with anxiety, you should never do anything that has energy, that creates energy. Energy is anxiety. That's what it is. Don't do that. Do the opposite. Do things that give you calmness, soothing slow music, soothing slow environments, soothing slow experiences. Take everything slow. Become a turtle. Think of yourself as a turtle, an old wise turtle. And you're just taking life one step at a time. You're thinking things through very slowly. You take the time to think about what it is you want to say before you say it. You are at peace. You create peace for yourself. Very true, all about vibe. Yeah, man. Yeah, it's about vibe. Hey, Cup, I decided to pop in to support. Thank you so much, Ninja. I appreciate that. I appreciate you being here. But yeah, you know, when you are dealing with anxiety, you really should be cautious about doing things in a hurry. Never do that. And doing things that create energy. Don't drink or eat things that create energy. Don't listen to things that create energy. Don't be in places that create energy. You need to be away from all of that. Be in places and in a mindset and in an environment and doing something that creates peace. Find peace. Look for peace. Find it. Live with it. Become it. This is how we can successfully heal from and deal with anxiety. Anxiety is a very complicated animal based on everything that I explained tonight. But given everything that I explained to you guys, isn't it much easier now? Now that you really understand the science of how it affects your body, how it affects your mind, and how you can control and deal with it, and that you've had someone encourage you and tell you that you have a strength inside you, that you have control, that you have power within you, that you are fearful of using, that you should not be afraid of using. You should feel powerful. You should know that you are a god. You are a god of your own universe, and you should control that, and you should own it, and you should feel it. And when you can accept these things I'm talking about, apply the tools that I've mentioned, and understand the science behind the problems that you're experiencing, you can really feel comforted knowing that it is much easier than you used to think it was. Tonight was about creating the presence of feeling peace and understanding. If you can be at peace with the fact that you are dealing with a problem that you can now understand and you did not understand before, and with this understanding, you can go out into life and try to create better solutions and better environments and better healing, you should now know that everything is going to be okay. Everything will be okay, because no matter what, the truth is we live in an infinite universe and there are infinite ways to do things, and we will always have new ways to do things no matter how complicated a situation is. No matter how bad your situation is, you can always get out of it. I just mentioned about how I've been dealing with becoming homeless over the weekend and losing my family and losing everything, money, family, business, everything. Okay? I've been going through severe depression. I actually became suicidal. And I got anxiety to the point that when I went to the grocery store, I felt like I was gonna collapse because of panic. Okay? I got through it because of the things I'm talking about. I applied it. I'm not here to preach and not practice. I practice what I preach. It is a very valuable, core, essential, honorable principle for me. It is a rule I abide by. It's a rule a rule that everybody should abide by. If you're gonna say something, don't you dare utter those words out of your mouth unless you're gonna do it yourself. If you don't have the strength, the desire, and the respect for yourself to go and do something you're talking about, then you don't have the right to talk about it. You don't. You don't. I'm tired of people talking about things that they don't apply to their own life. Stop talking if you can't even do it. Do it first. Then you earn the privilege, the respect from other people. You earn the respect from other people to be listened to. You don't deserve to get listened to unless you apply it yourself. Okay? So respect yourself, respect others by taking the time to do what you need to do, by applying it, trying it out, taking it easy. And always remember this, you guys. Always remember this. Never think that because you failed, it's never gonna work. That's the worst, dumbest thing that anyone can do. Don't do that. I keep talking about how we live in an infinite universe. If you live in a vast universe that like goes on forever, how would this universe exist if it just decided, well, I guess it's time to stop? Everything would stop existing. Think about that. If the universe gave up on a complicated problem, the universe would not exist. So don't be the god of your own existence and say it's not going to work because it didn't work. Because you just literally stopped existence. You just stopped creating existence. It doesn't. You just killed yourself by doing that. You just died inside a little by doing that, by giving up. Giving up is the worst thing you can do. Whew, I almost dropped my phone. Giving up is the worst thing you can ever do. What you can do is try again. The worst other thing you can do is try again and try the same thing again that you just failed at doing. Don't try the same thing that you failed at doing. Try to do it a little different. Try to go about it a little different each time until you find the time and the way that actually works for you, because you're different. We're all different. We're all unique. We all have different opinions, different feelings, different cultures, different environments, different ways of thinking, different ways of reacting, different bodily chemistry. Some of us have actual physical problems, the damage to our organs that are causing us to get anxiety. So we need to deal with it in a different way. The things I talked about tonight are methods and techniques and tips that allow you to apply it no matter who you are, where you're at, no matter what you're doing. That's how I function as a problem solver. I try to come up with ways to do things that can be applied by anyone of any age in any location, in any culture. That way, it's free for anyone to use and apply no matter where you're at, what you're doing, and who you are. Okay? There's no prejudice, no bias, there's no favoritism, there's no specialness, there's nothing special about what I'm talking about. The stuff I talk about are just very simple things that happen to be very complicated, but we were just never trained to think about them in the ways that I explain them. And that's why I'm here, is to explain these things to you guys in a simpler, more valuable, and easier way to understand them. Okay? At this point, I think I have said everything that I believe I need to say about anxiety and going back on depression. So I believe I'm going to be wrapping it up, other than if anyone has any questions to ask, any concerns that they want to address, if you want to talk about something in particular, or if you want me to say something or talk about something that I may have missed, just go ahead and let me know. I just want to let you guys know that because of my situation, I am moving, like right now. So I will not be gaming tonight, unfortunately. I feel bad because therapy gaming is about having therapy and then being able to spend time together afterwards gaming. But I'm in an emergency situation that like I said, I'm becoming homeless, or I was becoming homeless. I'm getting kicked out of my apartment by my landlord. So I have to spend the rest of tonight packing up my things so that a family member can come and help me grab all my things tomorrow to move them to a new home. So I'm going to be spending the rest of tonight, which I've already been doing all of today, packing my stuff to prepare to move them all tomorrow. So unfortunately, I will not be able to play any video games. Thank you, Poppy, for appreciating me and appreciating what I do, and for saying the kind words you always say. I really want to get to know you better, man. Did you ever consider popping into my Discord chat server to like spend time chatting with me in there? You can chat with my community, or you can chat with me personally in private. Because I would love to get to know you. You seem like such a kind, sweet, and positive person that I would love to get to know you on a deeper level. I try to surround myself with people like that, like you. So I have more people like you in my community already. But yeah, other than that, I'm excited to see you want to be in my community. That would be amazing to have you here. Thank you so much for joining my Discord. I look forward to talking to you some more. I just want everybody to know a few things as I wrap up tonight, okay? First of all, I said that I'm going to be packing to get ready to move, which means that I'm moving to a new home. This new home is occupied by other people. I'm going to be sharing a room. It's better than being homeless. It's the best I can do right now. But because of that, I don't know how it's going to affect my streaming schedule. I will still be able to stream. I will still be here. But I have no clue until the week. During the week, I'll figure, like once I'm living over there during the week, I'm going to figure out how it's going to affect my streaming schedule. And then what I'll do is I will announce it on social media and on Discord to everyone what my new schedule is. Because my schedule is definitely going to change big time. I'm not sure how. I might not change at all, other than Sunday for sure it's going to change, because the thing is, Sunday people have to go to work on Monday morning and go to school, and I'm living in a home with adults and children, and so Sundays I'm not going to be able to do therapy gaming at 8 p.m. PST anymore because it's too late and I'm going to be loud. So I need to do it earlier in the day. I'll still do it. I'm just going to be doing it earlier in the day, okay? or the day might change, you know, who knows. But like I said, I'll communicate with you guys what the new schedule is during the week. I'm on everything online. I'm on Twitter, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Snapchat, I'm on God, everything. Okay, I'm on Twitch, I'm on Mixer, I'm on YouTube, I'm on everything. Find me, you'll know it's me, because I'm the only person on the internet who has my Cup of Noodles kawaii character that you see at the bottom of the screen, the little cartoon character that I designed. Once you see that, you know it's me. And then you could stay in touch with me with my information that way. If you're on my Discord server, that's easy, I'll just tell you. What are you playing, Cup? Sorry, don't want to take you off topic. You take as long as you need. Best of luck to you, Cup. I really hope it goes well. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, no, it's okay, man. I mean, you know, life is life. You know, like there's ups and downs. And if we go through downs and we think of them as like what defines our life, then we have submitted, we have given up to bad experiences. We have given into bad experiences. And you never want to submit, you never want to bow down to bad experiences. You want to stand up and walk around bad experiences. You don't want to walk through it. You want to walk around it. And so I'm going through a bad experience, and I've been going through a bad experience for months now. And I've been through very hurtful, damaging experiences for the last 6 months or so. But I've been here. Other than the one weekend I took off, because that was the weekend, unfortunately, that things were really bad a weekend ago. I took the weekend off, I dealt with it, I figured it out, I got help. I'm here now. I'll be here. I'll always be here. I will always do my best to make sure, no matter where I end up in the world, no matter where I live, I will always try to be here for you guys, no matter what. Okay? So, you know, shit happens. It's the number one thing that I use as a tool for myself to make sure that I am an optimist, to stay positive, is I always say shit happens. All the time. I say it in my head about 1,000,000 times a day. And it helps a lot. I actually have books on that. There's actually a book that's called Shit Happens. Yeah. I don't want to step in until you're ready to talk about it, but the fam is here for you. Nah, man, I mean, I'm never afraid to talk about anything. If I was afraid to talk about anything, I wouldn't be on live stream telling the whole world my problems. You know what I mean? I'm never afraid to talk about things, my friend. Talking about things is the easiest thing for me to do. It's not about me talking about things, it's about you feeling comfortable with me talking about things that are not comfortable. That's what it's about. It's never about me being afraid about talking about my problems. It's me being afraid of you not being healthy or accepting of dealing with the sad things I have to talk about, you know? So I'm being considerate and respectful of you guys in my community by not talking about my problems with you directly unless absolutely necessary. Like, for example, I have talked to a couple members in the community about my problems directly because they are going through problems themselves. And so it's been easy for us to kind of talk about our problems together. But when you are in a busy life like yourself, Ninja, you're in a busy life and you have a lot going on, it makes more sense to me to be respectful of your space and your life by not talking to you about things that are difficult in my life, so that way you could stay focused on success. I'm being supportive of you and your lifestyle and your path that you're on by taking the time to think through and realize this person doesn't need to hear my suffering, they just need my support and love. So I'm very careful about how I think about things, who I talk to about what I talk about, when I talk about what I talk about. I am a very thoughtful and considerate person. So the whole, like, me not talking to you guys in my gaming fam about my problems is about that. It's about principle, it's about honor, it's about respect, compassion, empathy, and appreciation for you guys for just being in my life. I didn't need to talk about it in order for me to solve it. I needed to just have you be there. So you guys just being in my life every week and every day, gaming with me, spending time with me, hanging out with me, and engaging and interacting and communicating with me has mean more than you can ever imagine. Because like I said, I've been going through some deep, dark stuff over the last 6 months or so. And this problem was deep and dark in the last 6 months, but the problem has been around for like years. So, but you guys have made me get through it. It's your guys' presence that has made me feel comforted enough and have the courage to get through it. You guys have given me the strength to get through it, and you didn't even have to do anything. It's that simple for me. I'm a simple person. I just needed you to be alive, I needed you to be around, and I needed you to hang out with me. And you did. That's it. That's all I needed. So thank you. I appreciate you for being in my life. I appreciate you. I appreciate everyone who's in my life. Like I say this all the time to people, like in stream or in party chat. I always say, hey, I appreciate you. Thank you for being here. Like now you really understand what I mean when I'm saying I appreciate you for being there, like deeply, because that has like gotten me through some deep stuff. Okay? Well, yeah, anyone have anything else to talk about, man? You guys got any questions or concerns or whatsoever? It seems like everybody's pretty peachy, and Poppy looks like he got lots of good stuff out of what I talked about. He did mention some things earlier. I was able to clear them up. Do you need any more clarification on the meditation, Poppy? I mean, I'm a Buddhist. I'm an actual Buddhist. Like, I practice Buddhism. I go to a temple. I haven't gone in a while because I've been through difficult situations, but that's why I know a lot about meditation. It's because I actually am a person who practices a culture and lifestyle that applies meditation as a normal practice. It's a normal thing for us. Plenty of good info, thank you. Yeah, no problem, man. I think I need more practice for sure. Yeah, you gotta practice. You can. Meditation is not a thing that you can just be like, oh, it's not a quick solution. It's you have to invest time over time. I remember when I first started meditating. I remember it because it was an experience, and it was hard. I remember sitting there with my legs crossed, with my eyes closed. I was under a tree outside in the wilderness, and all I could think about was the birds coming and attacking me, or insects crawling on me, or like it raining on me, or like literally all the environmental stuff around me was freaking me out while I was trying to meditate. But what made me successful at meditating, what made me finally learn how to do it and how to actually practice it successfully, was I never quit. I didn't quit. I kept trying. I would go back and try again. I would try again in my room. I would try while I'm laying down. I'll try while I'm sitting. I'll try while I'm in the car. I would try everywhere. And my persistence, my perseverance, my insistence to try made me successful at it. And that's what you need. You gotta keep trying. And you gotta do that with everything in your life, not just meditation, everything. You gotta never stop trying, dude. Stop trying is the worst thing you can do in your life with anything. Always try. Always try. Because it was sure for I think I need more progress. Is the next topic? Yes, so next week we're doing ADHD, my friend. Next topic is ADHD. If anyone has another topic for me to bring up, go ahead and mention it. But yeah, so we did depression, we did anxiety, we're gonna go ADHD next. I will for sure be here. Yeah. Exactly. My senses increase a lot. Yes. So that's a big thing with meditation, is that you are slowing down your mind from thinking about all the other stuff, all the noise, all the crap that doesn't make sense, like bills and friends and junk. You're filtering all that out by ignoring it. You ignore it, and then what happens is that your senses, you start to focus deeper in your senses. Your hearing, you start to focus deeper. Your your feeling of like your environment feeling, which is called the third eye, like feeling what's around you, starts to heighten, and your taste, your smell, your skin feeling, your breathing, everything starts to heighten because you are reducing the amount of information you're thinking in your head, and you're increasing the amount of stuff that you're focusing on. You're focusing on sensation. And so you become really sensitive to the environment, really sensitive to the environment. But the goal of meditation is to do what? Is to distract yourself from the distractions, to force yourself to focus on your breathing and not get distracted. It's mind ninjutsu. You're teaching your brain to karate chop any distractions, like kick it out of the way, and then get back to your meditation. Get back to focusing on emptiness. Eventually, as you advance your meditation, like when I got to advanced meditation, I got to the point where I was focusing on a light in my mind. And then that light would turn into a sun. And then that sun would turn into a white room. And then that white room would turn into a forest. And then that forest would turn into a river. And then that river and that forest would have animals. And then I would feel like I'm in this safe, beautiful, euphoric, angelic environment. And then I would feel the animals, and I'd feel their feelings and hear their thoughts, and I would feel the world, and I would feel the grass, and I would feel the sun, and I would taste the environment. Like, you get into some deep stuff. That's advanced meditation, though. You will never get there until you spend lots of time meditating. I spent thousands of hours of meditation before I got there. Okay? So you can get there, but take your time, okay? Baby steps. Yeah, sometimes just try turning off all your electronics. Just go to the park and lay in the sun on the grass. No distractions, to relax for a few hours. Be outdoors, see nature. That could help a lot. That is meditation, is what that is, my friend. That right there is meditation. Going to a safe environment, to a safe place, removing all the distractions, getting rid of all the junk, the people, the places, being in a place that feels comfortable and safe and peaceful and energetic, with like the sun and the trees and the wind, like natural, going to a place that feels natural, healthy, and peaceful, and then closing your eyes and forgetting about everything. That's meditation. That's the same thing I was just talking about, that you can do an advanced meditation without having to go to the park. When you become an advanced meditator, you can go anywhere you want to in the universe through the power of your mind. But it takes so much practice to get there. So much practice to get there. So don't even worry about that right now. Right now, just focus on your breathing and focus on distracting your mind from not thinking about things that have to do with your daily life. Don't think about daily life. Think about breathing. Think about light. Think about energy. Think about good energy. Think about releasing bad energy. And the best tool for beginner meditators who are having a hard time with focusing, when you're having a hard time with the mind ninjutsu, is to get guided meditation. Go on YouTube and look up guided meditation. There's chanting, there's singing, there's talking, there's whispering, there's different versions, different people, different ages. Guided meditation and chanting meditation are very powerful. Very powerful. Everybody's different, okay? Everybody thinks differently and feels differently. Everybody's heart is more damaged or less damaged. Everybody's mind is more wise or less wise. So the way that you experience meditation and what works for you might not work for someone else. So never get stuck on one thing not working. Find other methods and techniques and styles to figure out a way that works for you. For me, chanting works. Like going, that vibration in my throat and that sound in my ear deafens myself from listening to the noise of life, calms and soothes my mind. And there's different octaves of chanting, of humming that allow you to reach different frequencies of thought, like different levels of meditation. Like I can feel excited or I can feel calm. I can feel neutral or I can feel thoughtful. You can get different feelings, different levels of feelings and different frequencies based on different sounds and different things that are being said to you while you're in meditation. Okay, so that's one thing, one piece of advice I can give you, Poppy, is go ahead and check out on YouTube guided meditation. Even look up how to meditate, and a lot of people will talk about the things I just talked about. And now that I gave you the information and the tools that you needed to understand meditation better, you're gonna be more successful at meditating. Okay? All right, that was a lot said. How long have I been online? How long does the bar say? I'll definitely try. Thanks a lot. Yeah, no problem, man. I think it's been a couple hours, right? Like, wow, like 3 hours almost? That's crazy. This is my longest session. Anxiety's complicated, so I really had to talk a lot tonight about anxiety. It's really complicated. But yeah, I guess that does it. Thank you so much for always being around, Poppy. And thank you for joining my community, man. Thank you so much. I look forward to hanging out with you. I'm excited to see what games you play. Yeah, 3 hours. Yeah, that's crazy. That's my longest therapy gaming session. I don't think any other subject is going to trump this one. Anxiety's complicated. Okay. Cool. 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 You guys have a great night. Suki, thank you so much for being here, brother. You are amazing, man. I freaking love you. You're amazing. Ninja, thank you for popping in. Flame, thank you for popping in. I appreciate my gaming fam. Those are my gaming fam members, Poppy. You'll see them in the community. I appreciate them stopping by and showing support. And Suki goes way out of his way. He mods for me. So, you know, shout out to Suki for being one of my strongest buddies by my side, who's constantly helping me with my stream, modding my chat for me, hanging out with me for like ridiculous amount of hours in video games, talking to me about life problems offline. I love you, man. You're awesome. Yeah. Okay. Is that it, you guys? You guys good? Everybody got what they needed? If that's the case, you all have a peaceful, loving, meditative, relaxing, calming, enjoyable evening. If any of you will be free, and you it seems like all of you are in my community, hit up each other on chat, on community chat, and play together. Get to know each other. Hang out. You know, if you have time, if you can. If you cannot, go to sleep. Get some rest. Sleep well. With sleep, if you have problems with sleeping, make sure your ass is not on your phone before you go to bed, okay? Because the light affects your eyes, which affects the chemicals in your brain to stop you from producing the chemical you need to produce to sleep. So you're affecting yourself psychologically and chemically from sleeping by being on a device before you sleep. You should not be on any device before you sleep for at least an hour or two, so that way your brain can start producing melatonin and other chemicals so that it can go to sleep, okay? Adenosine, melatonin, so forth. All right. I'm gonna be packing, like I said, all night. I'm dreading it, but I have to do it. It has to get done. If any of you wants to hit me up, hang out with me and chat with me to keep me company, that'd be cool. Whatever, you know, we can do a Discord voice chat or some shit. I don't know. I don't care. Otherwise, I'm just gonna turn on some music and just pack stuff. If anyone doesn't do that, I do that a lot with other gamers in my community. So, did you enjoy the Perler Minecraft grass block? Made the pieces like puzzle to make the cube. Yes, dude. What I enjoyed the most about your Minecraft block was the fact that the beads showed changes in topology at the top. Like it looks like grass is actually on on the Minecraft cube. So I like the detail. It was cool, man. It's very kawaii what you made. Best of luck to all you wonderful individuals. Yeah, best of luck to you too, Poppy. Now that you're in my community, you can always talk to me about things, you know? So that's cool. That's really exciting for me. But yeah, so we'll see what happens with my schedule with streaming. I'll inform everyone during the week what the hell is going to happen. I'm not sure what's going to happen. And then everybody have a good evening. I love you guys so much. Thank you for being here all the time. Thank you for being in my life. I explained that earlier, so now you know what that really means, that it's actually truthful. And you guys take care of yourselves, control your thoughts, control your breathing, eat well, exercise, go for a walk, get out the house, get away from toxic people and toxic places. Okay? All right. You guys take care of yourselves. I love you all. I'll touch base with all of you who are in my Discord to check in and so forth. And you guys keep it spicy as usual. I love you guys, and peace out.